paid for by the New World Order.
Oh, you didn't know?
You ready? Let's go!
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? Feed me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Big Daddy Cool Vinny Apicella, and you are listening to the most electrifying show in all of sports radio entertainment today. You are listening to the Sportswire, and we are here live from the Sportswire studios in New Britain, Connecticut. And what could I say, but we are here. Got a lot to talk about on today's episode, because of the simple fact that, well, it's January 25th, 2016. And the reason why we have a lot to talk about, is because it was such an eventful night last night. Okay? Not only do we have a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but we've also got the Super Bowl 50 matchup set for 2 weeks from yesterday. All right, so that being said, let's get to let's give our first fruits to God here, and let's go to God in prayer. Father God, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity to talk, Lord, to come to your children and your followers, and even if they're not your followers, but just the fact that you created them, Lord. And I just thank you for the opportunity to spread your word through sports, spread your word and the way I interpret your word, Father. I want to thank you for just struggles in life. I want to thank you for being able to help others, Father. I pray for my personal life and my personal relationships, whether it be with just friends or with Desiree or with my son or my family. And I just pray that, you know, I want to pray for those out there who are struggling with drug addiction and abuse, Lord. The people that I know in my life, whether I'm close to them or not, that I know who are struggling with addiction, Father. I pray that they're able to see the strength that you give them to overcome that. I thank you for just being all powerful and omnipotent and omnipresent and just all around us, Father. I thank you for allowing me to have this talent to talk, Father. I pray for my new job coming up, that the transition goes well and smoothly, and I thank you for everything, and I ask all this through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, folks, I want to thank you again for tuning in to the Sportswire. As always, we are here at our home Sportswire homepage, Spreaker.com/show/sports-wire. We've also got on Facebook, Facebook.com/SportswireCT, Facebook.com/FatCatRadio Enterprise. You can also go to our website, www.swe-ct.com, as well as www.myfatcatradio.com. And also on iTunes, you go to the podcast page, search for Sportswire. It's a free download, free subscription, and all you got to do is click subscribe. And that way every new episode of the Sportswire will come directly to your listening apparatus, be your iPhone, your iPad, your iPod, anything. So last night, okay, before we get to anything, I'm going to look for our worship song of the day, because, you know, we like to give our first fruits to God, and that goes in the form of music as well, because, well, quite honestly, if you don't give your first fruits to God, well, what else is there? Right? So I'm going to go to this song. I'm not sure if I played it before or not, but it is Bizzle. All right, here's Better Way, featuring P-Dub, whoever that is. But here it is, right here on the Sportswire. Here's Better Way by Bizzle, right here on the Sportswire.
Yo, whatever happened to that dream that God put in us? You know, before the world told you what you wanted to be and what you needed to do to be successful.
Cornbread.
Before you saw somebody else do it and said, you know what, I need money, I'ma do that. Before you knew what money was. And what did you want to be? And why'd you let it go? Come on.
If you're getting sick of running and tired of the hustling, go for it. I tell them go for it. You got a dream that you're chasing. Well, I think you can make it. You should go for it. I tell them go for it. Follow your dream and leave the game, please. Don't be ashamed. Anyone can change. Oh, there's a better way. There's a better way, shawty. There's a better way.
Yeah.
There's a better way.
Dedicated to the hustler that's sick of hustling. But won't nobody in the circle tell him give it up then. Get a new group that wanna see you shoot for the stars and 2 moons. Let them follow what you do. Hustling wasn't the plan, I know. Mother was struggling, Pops wasn't the man, I know. But even though your father was not home, he left but he's not gone. You still got a father seated on the most high throne. When you was younger you had a dream, I know it. Selling trees of dope was just supposed to be for the moment. Keeping it going wasn't even a notion. If you believe what you hoping can be, but to be it it needs your devotion. Media got us aiming to be American gangsters. Failing to tell us ain't no happy ending for gangsters. They dead or in jail, but it's never too late for change. You can be the one that paved the way if you ain't afraid.
Getting sick of running and tired of the hustling, go for it. I tell them go for it. You got a dream that you're chasing. Well, I think you can make it. You should go for it. I tell them go for it. Follow your dream and leave the game, please. Don't be ashamed. Anyone can change. Oh, there's a better way. There's a better way.
Got options.
There's a better way.
This for that chick in the strip club, tired of stripping. But her love for the money tells her not to quit it. Before she hit the stage, she swallowing shots of liquor. Oh, cause somebody convinced her there wasn't no promise in her. She never saw a queen when looking inside a mirror. In search of encouragement, nobody would stop and give her. Nights she cries rivers and wonders if God forgives her. Pop's not in the picture, but gotta be a father figure. You a mold in your body, life is more than paper. I know it's something other than money that motivates you. Like what about your dreams, little mama? Cause I know this ain't what you wanted to be, little mama. But your sin has created you a lifestyle that you can't afford if you quit, so you tied down. You can be free, but it may take you giving the devil back everything he ever gave you.
You getting sick of running and tired of the hustling, go for it. I tell them go for it. You got a dream that you're chasing. Well, I think you can make it. You should go for it. I tell them go for it. Follow your dream and leave the game, please. Don't be ashamed. Anyone can change. Oh, there's a better way. There's a better way, shawty. There's a better way. There's a better way.
You know you get the feeling like you don't have an option, but that's just a lie they say. Cause I was on that same road, I was on this payroll, lost in the same old thing. Know that it's a better way that ain't as easy. Place your faith in the Lord, you can't believe me. I'm just telling you what I know, God is who I follow. Forget about your past, let him change your tomorrow.
If you're getting sick of running and tired of the hustling, go for it. I tell them go for it. You got a dream that you're chasing. Well, I think you can make it. You should go for it. I tell them go for it. Follow your dream and leave the game, please. Don't be ashamed. Anyone can change. Oh, there's a better way. There's a better way, shawty. There's a better way. There's a better way.
Cornbread.
sports entertainment was heading to WWE. Styles is here.
Former IWGP champion, same as Brock Lesnar.
An 18-year veteran, a mastermind of offensive innovation, a star around the world. Roman Reigns realizes what he faces now, and I can't believe what we're about to see.
All right, and that was the probably one of the biggest. I don't want to say it was the biggest surprise of the Royal Rumble last night, but it was definitely one of the surprises. AJ Styles finally makes his WWE debut in the Royal Rumble, and he had a really good showing too. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean, the Royal Rumble, you're always judged on how long you're in there, how many eliminations you have. Now, I don't know the exact amount of eliminations he had, but I know he was in there for close to 20 minutes before I think he was tossed out by either Kane or Braun Strowman. No, it was Kane, actually. I believe it was either Kane or Big Show, but actually, yeah, probably Big Show. But the fact of the matter is, AJ Styles had a really good showing. He was in there for a while with Roman Reigns, and they were fighting back and forth. No, I'm sorry. I almost forgot. He was thrown out by Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens kind of made a comment to him. And you know what I really like is that because of the influx, not only in NXT, but the influx of all these indie guys, be it Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Neville, AJ Styles, the guys that have not been groomed by the WWE, you have all these feuds that have happened on the indie circuit coming in and playing out on WWE TV. And it's awesome. Because when Kevin Owens came in last night into the Royal Rumble, he immediately went after AJ Styles. And, they've had their feuds on whether it be Ring of Honor or the indie circuit, just phenomenal. No pun intended. But the fact is, AJ Styles finally made his debut in the Royal Rumble last night. It would have really been awesome to see him win the Royal Rumble and get the title in his very first match, which that would have been probably the biggest shocker ever in the WWE. Because Vince, he doesn't want to necessarily give somebody who he didn't create their time of day. I mean, look at Daniel Bryan. I mean, now granted, I don't like Daniel Bryan. I think he's an okay wrestler, but I don't like him. But, he never amounted to much in the WWE because the fans kind of made him as Bryan Danielson, Ring of Honor, Indies. So Vince kind of has to get over that hump. I was talking with my friend Juan, or should J Deuce. I was talking with him and last night during the Royal Rumble, and he made a comment that Vince isn't best for business anymore. And he has a point, which is why Triple H is doing so well with NXT. And NXT has gotten as big as it has because Vince has nothing to do with it. It's like Triple H's baby. And I think that's just absolutely awesome that Triple H is doing that. Now, I need to apologize to you folks. Before I go on, like I said, I really need to apologize because I am absolutely exhausted today. This weekend, it was my first weekend actually doing snow removal. It kind of was inherited when I got the minivan from my roommate, and I was up all night Saturday night doing the snow shoveling and snow blowing and all that. I'm just dead tired. It was midnight, 8 hours of that overnight, sleeping during the day, coming back, and then being frustrated because my internet connection was so slow last night that, it was like the WWE Network, there were times where it wouldn't even go 10 seconds without it, screwing up. And that's just not cool at all. But, it is what it is. And you really can't fault it for being what it is. I'm actually just kind of, while I'm here, looking at different possibilities for my internet, but that's neither here nor there either. The fact is, it was a great event last night. By far, Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens in the opening match in the it was a false count, it was a last man standing match, was the best match of the night. And that's bar none. The Usos and the New Day, it was alright, but predictable because the New Day won again. I don't know why they're keeping the title on the New Day. I don't know. I think the Usos earned the title and should really have the title. But, it is what it is, and it stinks. Not all the time do I criticize the WWE for what they do, but, lately it's like they get to a point where they're so awesome, they're so good, but then, it's like they do something that doesn't make any sense. It's like the New Day is so far over as heels, they don't need the title. Give it to the Usos. Let the Usos get some of their steam back. Because if you have the New Day, take out the Dudley Boys already, which I thought was a mistake. But okay, the Dudleys want to help the younger generation of tag teams. I can understand that, but you at least, have to give the Dudleys the titles, I would expect. But apparently not. As long as they won by disqualification. But, so, the New Day and the Usos, that was kind of predictable. Charlotte and Becky, again, it's almost to the point where it's predictable with that because Charlotte's going to either win or lose by disqualification. And Charlotte ended up winning with Ric Flair's help, of course. And that's what I mean. She'll win with help or lose by disqualification, not lose the title. Goes back to the formula that Ric Flair did for his entire career. That's why he's a 16-time world champion. Well, think about it. 16-time you won it, 16-time you lost it, too. But, whatever the case may be, it was a decent match. And at the end, Sasha Banks came out and put the bank statement on Charlotte, basically putting her flag up saying, you know what, I'm your next challenge. So I thought that was really good. And I really thought that by Charlotte and Becky putting on a great match and then Sasha coming out at the end, I thought it was absolutely great. I really do. I love the way the women's division is going now. I wish they would get rid of the term Divas. I wish they would get rid of the Divas Championship and go back to the Women's Championship. I wish they would get rid of Total Divas. I know they're getting ratings, opening up the WWE to a new audience, be it the reality show-based women that watch the show. But, it is what it is, and I personally just don't like it. But that's what they want to do. They want to open it to a new audience, and I can understand that. But now they have to see how many crossovers they get, how many people who watch Total Divas tune into WWE programming. I can venture to say not many, because you probably already have so many people watching both products, because the only people who really want to watch the Total Divas are wrestling fans. But I guess I could be mistaken at times. That being said, there was also we also have a new United States champion. Kalisto got the title back from Alberto Del Rio one more time in a match that was really, really good. Kalisto finally getting a push, and I was questioning this, but it makes sense. Kalisto getting a push. He's a great talent. He's a great luchador from Mexico. And now that Sin Cara is hurt, they're not going to have that run at the tag titles. So why not make him into a single star? And I think that's fantastic. The only problem with that is when Sin Cara is healthy, what's going to happen with the Lucha Dragons? Are they going to feud? Or are they going to get back together and resume a tag team run for the tag titles? That remains to be seen. We know that in recent history, tag teams haven't fared very well. And after watching a Legends of Wrestling show on the WWE Network, it's for there's a couple different reasons as to why tag teams just aren't as popular anymore. One, it's a budget thing. If you can get somebody over on his own, why pay, for hotel and accommodations for 2 people, unless they're both established stars. But again, that just doesn't work because you still have the singles run. Like when you'll never see a Mega Powers or a Money Incorporated anymore, where you have 2 great singles talents, whether it be Hogan and Savage or IRS and $1 Million Man, come together on less of an injury and be long-term tag team. IRS Money Incorporated was absolutely great. Because when IRS came in, he was that obviously Erwin R. Shyster, he was the tax collector, IRS. And Ted DiBiase being the $1 Million Man, that was always his character. So that was a natural chemistry, natural formation of the tag team. Put Jimmy Hart with him, but then they ended up breaking up, and because Ted DiBiase was too hurt, the tag team gave DiBiase a chance to kind of relax and not be as active. But then he got too hurt and started the $1 Million Corporation, then went to the NWO, and the rest is history. With Hogan and Savage, that was specifically built so that Savage had a good rub and run as world champion, while Hogan was off making no holds barred that summer. Because this is obviously way before Monday Night Raw, where you had the weekly stuff. You had stuff that was taped 3 weeks in advance for the superstar shoots, at least 3 weeks, maybe 6. But when it came to the tag team, yeah, they were going to put out money for Hogan and Savage because they were both top-notch superstars. I'm kind of surprised that the Usos have been together for so long. I'm really surprised that, the Lucha Dragons have been together for so long. Now that, Cigar's hurt, so we'll see. It's like, same thing with the what are their names? The Los Matadores. Diego and Fernando. Well, everybody knows that's just a Primo and Epico under masks. So, and they're not making any money, so I'm surprised they're still there. It's not what it used to be. Look at the Bushwhackers, okay, in tag team action. They never won the world tag titles. They were a great attraction. They were never a great tag title threat, but they stayed together for so long. They were never broken up. Road Warriors broke up for a little while. The Legion of Doom, they broke up for a while. Same team. Demolition was together for so long, but then, Axe got hurt, and then Crush and Smash were repackaged as Repo Man and Hawaiian Crush. So, with that said, the tag team division just isn't what it is. They don't place a lot of emphasis on tag teams in the WWE anymore. Now, I don't know about TNA or Ring of Honor or over in Japan because I've never paid much attention to them. I know that Beer Money is getting back together. James Storm and Bobby Roode, they're getting back together in TNA, which, they always had a great tag team. But we'll see how far that goes. All right, so we've talked about the WWE and basically what it is. Trying to find. Here we go. I think I'm gonna go to a song. Okay, then we're gonna do part 2 of Kristen Howe Now, the books. I know I said Mondays and I said Thursdays pretty much, but being that I'm tired and I don't want to yawn on air, I'm going to go to our part 2 of the Kristen Howe autobiographical series right here on the Sportswire. So we're going to get to a song, and I wonder if there's any song in my playlist right now that I could actually, whatever. I got to find a song first. And what I like about the this desktop thing for Spreaker, the app, is that I could play any songs I want. So let me just find something. Ooh, I wonder. Yeah, why not? I'm going to go with an old WWE theme song. Okay, I'm going to go with Alter Bridge with Metalingus right here on the Sportswire. Then after that, we'll go to Chris and How Now Part 2, the books. All right, right here on the Sportswire.
I've been defeated and brought down. Oh, dropped to my knees when hope ran out. Oh, the time has come to change my ways. On this day, I see clearly everything has come to life. Bitter place and a broken dream, and we'll leave it all behind. I'll never long for what might have been. No, regret won't waste my life again. Oh, I won't look back, I'll fight to remain. On this day, I see clearly everything has come to life. A better place in a broken dream, and we'll leave it all behind. On this day, it's so real to me. Everything has come to life. Another chance to chase a dream, another chance to feel On this day, I see clearly everything has come to life. A better place in a broken dream, and we'll leave it all behind. On this day, it's so real to me. Everything has come to life. Another chance to chase a dream, another chance to feel
Next. Okay, so this is the next segment, and we're still talking about, we're going to talk about the War of the Angels now that we really kind of talked about the basic book stuff for the Enchantians. And so Like I said, I got the idea from a friend when I was down and depressed, and now I'm writing it. End of story. And it's a lot harder, I gotta tell you. It's not an easy book to write, because the way I write is I just throw it up there. I just throw it on the paper or the computer or whatever, and then I go back and I'll edit it, or I'll have friends edit it, which has made some problems in my life doing that. But so I'm going from line to line, and so it's going to be a slower process before the whole thing is done. But basically what the story is about in the War of the Angels is going to be only a 3-part book. I'm holding myself to a 3-parter. Everybody in the world say no more books after the 3rd part of the War of the Angels. We're not going to have War of the Angels Part 10. Okay? So don't worry. Okay? So the War of the Angels right now are in 3 segments, in 3 books. And the first one's called Satan's Stand, which looks back at Satan and what happened with him in the beginning and when he was expelled from heaven. And then he's come to Earth to find a host for his child, and which would be the first Nephilim, evil Nephilim nowadays. And this Nephilim will become the leader of many evil Nephilims. And, you know, you sort of get the general story, good versus evil, stuff like that. I'm not going to give too much out on that book. You can read stuff on my fan page, on Facebook, The War of the Angels. And 2016, spring of 2016, I want to say it's coming out. But, you know, of course, you never know. These things change. So, I mean, it depends how fast I can write it. It depends how good I can write it. It depends if I need more help to write it. So that's really all I'm going to say on the War of the Angels right now, because it's pretty new to me. And, you know, the story could change, and, you know, I don't have a real direction right now where the story's going to go. So I'm only on chapter 3. So let's save that for another time. But basically all my stories are about empowerment, about conflict within, about the demons within, the challenges we face, of course, metaphorically, and storylines. Now, friends of mine, such as my ex-boyfriend in South Carolina, and my friend Danny in New Mexico, and my other friends have been included in some of those stories that I wrote about empowerment. You know, I made Danny a queen. You know, she had a challenge not too long ago with a little monster crawling around her house. So, you know, that was a good story I wrote about her slaying a dragon. So, I do things like that every once in a while just for fun. I did write about, 3 years ago, I did write about an Enchanted Christmas. And Enchantia. That wasn't really an empowerment story. That was one of those goofy kind of stories, like I'm just going to throw together something for Christmas kind of things, like a Christmas special. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so back to why these books are important to me and why these may be important to you. And I feel they're really good books. Some of them, not all of them are good books. Some of them are just thrown together, but basically, like, the first 4 are really good. And of course, Ambrosia, the last one I wrote, was pretty wild. I did some things in that book that I never thought I would say or do. Was a little more, let's say, adult in that book than usually what I would write. So the reason I wrote these books, again, like I said, was empowerment and encouragement, and trying to, you know, find a partner or an escape. That you need to find someone else who's struggling. And if you can't find somebody else who's struggling with you or supporting you, pick up a book of any kind, really. But my books are about struggle and how to, well, it's not a how-to book. It's like you see someone else struggling, maybe you can relate, and you can go on your own struggle. My thing is that, like I said, my mother died 4 years ago, and I really couldn't handle it. But I was just detached from it because she was very sick for a very long time. I had Kenny, who was my live-in boyfriend, who was going to be my husband. We were going to get married in 2012, in June 2012 when I turned 40. I divorced my ex-husband because there was spousal abuse issues. And I'm not going to really get into too much of that. We're talking right now, so I don't want to ruffle his feathers, so to speak. He'll never hear this anyway, but still. Anyway, after my mother died, I was pretty upset, and I had lost children in a major custody battle with someone 12 years before. And I've had some issues with depression and anxiety. And so I was going to this mental health clinic called Community Health Resources. And I would have a caseworker every year and every month and every day. And I didn't even want one anymore. And I was just winding down, not being a patient anymore. Because, I was fine. I was good. I had a house. I had Ken. I had cars. I had money. I had everything I wanted. Everything. But one night, that all came to a crouching end. So sometimes it's good to be grateful for what you have, and I'm not too good at doing that either. So anyway, one night in April 2012, I had a caseworker before that. He was my caseworker for 6 months before that, and we were just winding down my case with CHR. When me and Ken had a very, very bad argument about a week before he died. And it was really bad. It was like the worst one we ever had. It was way bad. Him running out, he was drunk. The cops were called, he pushed me. Things were really bad. So we didn't talk after that for like a week. We went to eat at a restaurant in Springfield. We came back the night before. I went out that night to go get Easter baskets. It was Passover. It was the night before Passover. And I rushed to the drugstore because my kids were really fairly old enough not to really get into... We weren't big Easter people. I'm not a big Easter person. So, we were just like, let's throw something in the basket and, okay, have some fun. But anyway, so, well... I came back, he was eating Golden Grams, and I'm like, really? And he was telling the kids that he loved them, and he kissed them goodnight. And I was in the living room, and he was in the bedroom, and he IM'd me and said, are you coming in? And I'm like, when I'm effing ready, because I was really upset with him. I don't let things go, that's my problem. And so, a couple hours later, I went in, and he was on the bed. And I took the remote and I turned it to a show that I'll never watch again because of that night. And he went to the bathroom and he told me to turn off the effing TV after, we were just mad at each other after he came back from the bathroom. So I was in there watching TV and I heard a big loud noise. I'm like, oh my God, what are the children doing in their rooms? And I'm yelling at the kids to cut it out. And then I heard moaning and gasping for air, and I'm like, WTF. And I go into the bathroom. There's Kenny laying on the floor. There's blood coming out of his ears, blood coming out of his nose. I'm like, what's going on with you? What's going on with you? And obviously he didn't respond. He was laying on the floor. And so I grabbed his cigarette, which was hanging off the vanity. Yeah, first thing I needed, right? Grabbed his cell phone and called 911. Lesson learned, do not call 911 from a cell phone if you can help it, because they direct you to somewhere else and then they have to direct you to somewhere else. So that was a delay. So they had told me to try to move him, and I couldn't move him. He was on his belly on the floor, and if you don't know what I look like, I look pretty good for my age anyway, but I'm also only 4'11", 4'12". I'm really, really short and tiny. I lost since 2014 45 pounds. I started running last spring, 3 miles a day, and drinking water, but I moved to a house here in Enfield, and I haven't really gotten back in track. So anyway, he was laying on the floor, and he was pretty much dead. He grabbed my ankle, and the last thing he said to me was, "Chris." And I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. I was holding his hand. I said, don't leave me. Don't do this to me. I was crying. The police had to pry me off. Honest to God, I thought I was living a soap opera. Had to pry me off Ken's dead body. So they put me in the living room, and they did resuscitate him for a minute. He had a heart attack. Well, that's what we thought at first. And I had standing there crying and watching the police officer try to guard me like he was good, like I was going to do something, but I wasn't. But then I was sitting at my desk, you know, puffing away on a Marlboro. Those were my favorite cigarettes, and a thing of whiskey, lemon, with a lemon. And that, I was pretty upset. And they didn't really want me to leave the house, or they wanted to call somebody, but at 11:30 at night on a weeknight, who are you going to call? Of course, later on, I found out my neighbor next door was watching this whole thing go on, and she didn't understand why I didn't come next door, but I should have. But hindsight's 20/20. All this is going on. The kids are sleeping in the other room, and he never woke up during all the chaos. I had a lot of police, paramedics, and so forth in my house, and they wheeled Kenny out of the house on a gurney in front of his flat screen TV. His 65-inch flat screen TV. And I said, here's your glasses. And the paramedic said, oh, I don't think he's going to need them right now. And I said, why not? I said, he just had a heart attack. He's fine, right? And he goes, I think you need to call a hospital in about a half an hour, Miss Howe. And I said, you're taking him to Johnson, which is the local hospital next on the other side of Enfield in Stafford, Connecticut, next town. 2 towns over, actually. And they said, oh, no, we're going to have to take him to Bay State Hospital, which is in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is about 5 miles from my house. Well, from my house now, but maybe about 5 miles from the house. I'm still pretty much where I used to live, but in a different house. So, in the same area. Not that close, but in the same area. So, anyway, so they wheeled him out, and they told me to call Bay State Hospital, which I was calling everybody, telling him that Kenny had a heart attack. I called his boss and said, I don't think he's coming in tomorrow. He had a heart attack, Dave. I was actually looking for somebody to talk to me, but really nobody wanted to talk to me. I was Facebooking all this, of course, on my new Apple phone I had just got a month before. So what happened was I couldn't sit there and do nothing, so I got hysterical. I woke the kids up, and I took my 1999 Mercury Sable, and I left everything on. Lights, garage, doors, TV, computer, everything was open. I had to call my neighbor next door to have them close down my house later on that morning. So I drove about 20 minutes up the mountain, up to my father's house on the lake in West Suffield, and banged on his door at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And finally I'm like, Tom, open the door, open the door. And he opened the door, and, well, actually, I actually know my father doesn't lock his house, so I actually went in his house. So essentially I kind of broke in, but everything's cool with that. So I walk in, and there's my father getting out of bed, and what's going on, Chris? What's going on? Why are you here? We were arguing too. I argue with everybody. Forget it. Everybody knows I argue with them. It's just the way I am. You know, I always have to be right. Not all the time, but anyway, I even argue with my children all the time. I guess that's nothing new. But so I said, Kenny's dead. He goes, what? And I'm like, Kenny died in my arms. I was praying all the way to my father's house. Our Father who art in heaven. I kept saying that. My face was full of tears. I don't even know how I made it to Suffield. I think I just drove 60 miles all the way up the mountain, which I'm surprised I didn't get a damn ticket for, with 2 children in the car. And, you know, I just knew he died. I just knew it. There was no way I didn't know it. Because the hospital I did call the hospital, and they did say, you know, you gotta come now. And that's why I went and got my father. And so we went to the hospital, and I was sweating. I was disgusting. My hair was in knots, and I was in sweats, and I was just sweating and horrified. And the doctor comes in and says, we're sorry to inform you, I had to go get his sister, because I didn't have any legal rights to know what was going on. So I called his sister from Stafford, and she had come and met me at the hospital, and therefore when they told Sandy what happened, I was sitting there next to her, and they told me that Kenny had suffered an aneurysm and crushed his brain cell, and crushed his brain stem, not his cell. His cells were already crushed. He didn't have medical coverage, not from work, not from anything. It was too expensive to give him medical coverage because he bought us medical coverage, and he didn't buy him medical coverage because it just cost too much money. That's why I'm a Democrat. Anyway, but we'll get to all that later too. So, lo and behold, here comes my nightmare, my pure nightmare. I fell on the floor when I knew he died. I took his cold, dead hand and I wiped it on my face and I cried, "Why did you leave me?" I watched him die on the respirator. I had no rights. He just actually, his sister told him, I was fighting with his sister about pulling the plug, but Kenny actually made the decision to just die on the respirator. I don't know how you do that, but it happened. Everything just collapsed. Nothing was going to work anymore. I was just fighting, but I knew what was the end result. I dragged myself home that morning and left my children with my father. I went to tell his brothers, and of course they didn't believe what I was saying. We had issues with them 2 years before when we moved out, because we were living with them for a while. So, I was devastated. And I was in a world I didn't want to be. I was alone, and I was in the dark realm. I was in the worst possible place in my life. And I've never suffered so much hurt. There's stuff that came up later that came where I was right there with it, but really never suffered such a dark moment in my entire life. I was thrown into such a depression, or such a world, that it was like time slowed down. Like I wasn't really here. I was somewhere else. And I didn't want to live. Not that I wanted to commit suicide, and I couldn't, and I knew it. So I didn't, and I didn't want to, because death scares me. Why would I want to do that to myself? So I suffered. That's how I felt. I suffered. I didn't drink. I smoked cigarettes, but I didn't drink or do drugs. I did nicotine. And I was devastated. I was so clueless about how am I going to take care of 2 kids on my own without Ken. I was mad at Doug, and I certainly didn't want him back in my life at that point. And I just didn't want, just for reference, Doug Howe is my ex-husband. And I just didn't want anything to do with life. But there was my computer. So I buried myself in writing. Well, that was the first thing I did. And then I would write for a little while, and I would get on the couch and cry. And I would get on the couch and cry. And I wouldn't take a shower, and I wouldn't eat. And I didn't want to do anything. So, like I said, I had a caseworker from October 2011. This caseworker I had told 2 days after, and I was crying up a storm in the car with him, and he said, "Don't worry, I'm going to take care of you. We're going to take care of everything." And so that began that episode of my life. And that was one thing that almost was a happy thing, but it turned out to be one of the most ugliest things ever. So anyway, the caseworker. So I needed to learn how to mow the lawn, and he was trying to teach me. I'm like, "No, you do it." He told me, "No, I do enough at my own house. I'm not going to mow your lawn." And I kind of was the Helen Keller, and he was kind of the teacher, and now that's how it went for a little bit. With the money, I refused to do it. You do it. Or, he would take me to Social Security. I had to redo Amber's benefits because Amber was on SSI because she's disabled. I had to do a lot of things that I didn't want to do, but he helped me. He was there for me pretty much off and on the first couple of months, 2 days a week. I would hear from him almost every day, though. He told me that if I needed him to cry, to call him in the middle of the night or call him anytime, and I did. I utilized that. And I cried, and I cried, and I swore, and I cried, and I didn't want to live. Exist, not suicide live, but exist. I just didn't want anything. I had no faith left, and nothing. I didn't blame God. I blamed Ken, not God. I'm not a God blamer for anything, really. I'm not a holy roller, but by no means am I, like, I hate you, God, for this. I mean, I think one time I said that. There was one incident where Kenny had a call on the cell phone. His cell phone was still working. That was bizarre. I left it on until the bill just came in and they decided to discontinue it. And it was about a week later he died, and the phone rang, and it was somebody wanting Ken to help fix his car. Kenny was a mechanic. And I said, I'm sorry he died. And I was so overcome that I noticed that there was coffee in the carafe on my kitchen counter, and it was last made by Ken a week before. That was probably pretty nasty coffee by then. So I took and I slammed it on the floor, and I swore at him, and I pounded in the glass, and I cut myself pretty good in the hands and stuff like that, but nothing like suicide or anything. I was having a tantrum because I was alone. I don't like being alone. So after a while, the caseworker came over more often, and we started talking more often. He was starting to help me more. He went on vacation to New Jersey and came back, and it was a different when he came back. We were getting closer and closer, and I thought, wow, he really likes me. He really wants to help me, because all he would ever tell me is how much he cared about me. Every single phone call he made, every single thing he did was, I care about you. No one else is going to care about you, Kristen. I'm going to care about you. And I'll tell you where this is leading. But I think you pretty much already guessed. I care about you. I care about you. I care about you. And then feelings started to grow between us. I mean, I believe that's what I believed. And I believed I had feelings, but they started conflicting with the feelings I had with Ken. So I was having this internal battle. The caseworker, my friend, who I'm growing close to, and Ken, who's dead. And it was just a continuous battle, and I tried very hard to pull away from the caseworker, really did. But he kept up with me, kept coming over, kept calling me, kept helping me, and kept telling me he cared about me. He would say, God damn it, Kristen, or GD, Kristen. He would say that, all that, and more. One time he said, if you knew any friends or boyfriends, friends or boys that you would like sex with benefits with. And I'm like, really? I'm like looking out the window, I'm like, say you want to be like that. Say, I'll do it just because I'm lonely. Do it. He didn't say it, and I didn't say it either. So it was always like the elephant in the room, and we grew closer, and we grew closer. And in November of 2012, my daughter had a casting done. This was before a fuse. And her lung collapsed. And, of course, who was I on the phone with? It was with the caseworker. He always used to tell me, I will rescue you. I'm the only one who will rescue you. If you need me, I'll be here for you all the time, forever. I'm never going to stop taking care of you. And he held me, and he would rub my back and my knee, and I thought he was in love with me. I really do. Poor misguided me, right? So he kept us up for a while, and came over about a week later, and we talked. At this point, we were talking every day, except for he would make it clear that I will be with you every day, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, except for holidays, and weekends, and I could call him anytime I wanted, and I did, and we talked, and we would leave messages for each other, and we would. Like, if he would say something like, I really like, come on. I'm like, I know what you're trying, and I would call him, I know what you're trying to say, just spit it out. Just tell me what's on your mind. Because I didn't want to say it. So there was a lot of back and forth like that for a while. But then I said, I don't want to get involved with you. I was saying that in my head, and I said it to him. I don't want to get involved with anybody who's married. I have enough problems as it is. I tried very, very hard. I swore at him. I fought with him just for him to leave me. I complained about him. I wanted him gone. I just didn't want to say anything else, okay? But I still felt he loved me. So on 12/12/12, my daughter had a recasting, believe it or not, was that date. And at 5 a.m. in the morning, I'm on the phone on the caseworker's answer machine. I'm like, I have feelings for you. And I think we need to not be quiet anymore or everything like that. Calls me up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and says, you're right. And I'm saying, you know, I have feelings for you, and I think we should kind of end this now, and I don't know what to do with all these feelings. And he didn't get it till 1 o'clock the next day, and I got a lecture in my life. This guy's notorious for lecturing me, coaching me. I care about you. I care about you. I want you to be happy. I'll take care of you. Nobody will take care of you but me. CHR doesn't care about you. I care about you. And he said he would say things like, you know, my father and I weren't seeing eye to eye at that point either. And he would say, you know, if I conversate with your father, that's not going to be a pleasant conversation. Later on in the spring of 2013, he told a woman that if she took me down, he was going to take her down. So, you know, it kind of got, like, interesting. So, he was in charge of helping me move because I was getting kicked out of where I lived because I couldn't afford the payments on the place no more. And I didn't want to. I was so disgusted with everything. The only comfort I had was him. And he would comfort me. He'd come over. He had come over on a couple occasions, and he would stand in the driveway, and he would hold me. And he would play with my little hoodie, and he goes, don't worry, I'm going to take care of everything. I care about you, I care about you, I care about you, I care about you. You should see the text messages I was texting my friend Danny. It would have been made for a good book if I wasn't going to be sued for it, you know. Anyway, so he had called that afternoon and said, you know what, I'm not going to abandon you like other people have. I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere, no matter how much you swear at me, no matter what. Speaking of that, just before I moved, I was so angry about moving because I didn't want to move, but I wanted to move at the same time. It was my comfort place and everything. And I wasn't sure what I was doing. But I'll discuss the little teapot in the next segment. Thank you.
Peace up, A-Town down. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Usher. Let's go. In the club with my homies, tryna get a little VI, keep it down on the low key. You should know how it is. I saw the shorty, she was checking up on me. From the game, she was spitting in my ear. You would think that she knew me. Decided to cheat. Conversation got heavy. She had me feeling like she's ready to blow. Watch out! She's saying, come get me. So I got up and followed her to the floor. She said, baby, let's go. When I told her, I said, Shorty got down, she said, come and get me. I got so caught up, I got she told me. Her and my girl, she be the best of me.
so conspicuous. And wow, these women all on the prowl. If you hold the head steady, I'ma milk the cow. And forget about game, I'ma spit the truth. I won't stop till I get them in their birthday suits. So give me the rhythm and it'll be off with their clothes. Then bend over to the front and touch your toes. I left the jag and I took the rolls. If they ain't cutting, then I put them on foot patrol. How you like me now when my pinky's valued over 300,000? Let's drink, you the one to please. Ludacris fill cups like Double D. Me and Ursh once more when we leaves them dead. We want a lady in the street, but a freak in the bed that say, Lil Jon got the beat to make your booty go. Take that, rewind it back. Ursher got the voice to make your booty go. Take that, rewind it back. Ludacris got the flow to make your booty go. Take that, rewind it back. Lil Jon got the beat to make your booty go.
All right, so that was a long time. That was nice. That was a good break for me. But all right, we did have, like I said, part 2 of Kristen Howe Now. Although it really wasn't too much about the book, so I apologize for that. But the fact is, you know, she's getting a little bit more in depth into her story, how she lost her, I believe, second husband. I thought they were married, but I guess not. But the fact is, she's getting more in depth in her life. She's getting a little bit more open, talking about the social worker that hurt her. She'll get into, as far as I know, she'll get into that with the next segment on part 3. That'll be played on Thursday. But I definitely want to thank her and appreciate the honesty that she's been exhibiting throughout these. It's a YouTube series, but she's given Sportswire exclusive right to play them on my show, give it kind of a broader audience, if you will. And then we had Metalingus by Alter Bridge before that, and we had Yeah by Usher after that. So a lot there. But now let's move on, shall we, to NFL Super Bowl 50. Well, Super Bowl's in 2 weeks, which is going to be the 7th of February. Super Bowl 50 live from Santa Clara, California at the 49ers' new stadium, which hosted Wrestlemania last year. So, quite honestly, with that said, we do have a great match with 2 brand new teams in there. That's absolutely right. Well, no, I shouldn't say brand new, but the Carolina Panthers, who were the odds-on favorite probably for the past 2 months, they did, in fact, live up to their team and their stats. They did defeat the Arizona Cardinals handily yesterday. And then what has to be, a lot of people's minds, the shocker of the day, the Denver Broncos defeated the New England Patriots to move on to Super Bowl 50. Now, with that being said, I did predict on Thursday that it was going to end up being the Patriots against either the Carolina Panthers or the Cardinals. I was wrong. First of all, I knew the Panthers were going to make it. I thought that the Cardinals had a better team all around, but obviously I was wrong. And the Panthers just took it out. With that being said, Cam Newton definitely proved himself worthy of MVP talks. And Carson Palmer's just a little bit, I guess Bruce Arians and Carson Palmer, that team did maybe another year from now, in order to get to the Super Bowl. But you know what? Either way, they have a great team, and I definitely want to wish them well for the future. But Carolina definitely lived up to their stats in their season and is going to the Super Bowl. Denver. Now, so many people living in New England, it's tough to get away from it. I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Okay? I was highly upset at the New England Patriots for losing a couple weeks in what I thought was an intentional way to make sure that the Steelers had a lower spot on the chain in terms of the playoffs. Well, so I say, ha ha! And the Denver Broncos, Peyton Manning, who I still don't like, but Denver Broncos defeated the Patriots yesterday. Now, Gostkowski, their kicker, said that the point after attempt was a joke, and that he feels responsible for, for the loss. Whatever the case may be, maybe that'll knock Tom Brady off the pedestal that he's standing on in so many people's minds. And maybe, they won't look at him as some kind of a god. Because he's not. He's only human. He's only a man. Limited by whatever he's got around him to work. And that obviously didn't happen. So, going into Santa Clara at Levi Stadium, it is going to be the Denver Broncos taking on the Carolina Panthers in Super Bowl 50. That comes your way at 6:15 on the 7th of February. Now, let me double check. Now, I've heard rumors, and I know it's been announced, but I want to know exactly. I know that Beyonce has joined in for the Super Bowl halftime show. So I want to see Super Bowl halftime. If I could actually get there, that would be great. Super Bowl 2016. Here we go. As we wait for the gremlins of the internet to work, I do want to say that it's going to be a great game. Cam Newton against Peyton Manning. Obviously, Peyton Manning has the... Okay, so Super Bowl halftime show is going to be Coldplay, Beyonce, and Bruno Mars. Fascinating. Quite honestly, I mean, I don't like... Coldplay is alright, but again, they're kind of older. But anyways, with that being said, I do feel that Peyton Manning has the advantage simply because he's a veteran. However, over this whole season, the Carolina Panthers have gelled as a team, and Cam Newton has stepped into the role that he has to be as the leader of that team. So with that being said, yes, I do firmly believe that the Carolina Panthers are going to win the Super Bowl. And Peyton Manning will yet again let his team down and choke. But it's not going to be about a Denver Broncos choke. It's again going to be Cam Newton stepping up and playing the way he has to and leading his team to a Super Bowl victory. That's my thought process on it. I really think that's going to be the absolute best part of it. The game is going to be great either way, especially because the Patriots are not going to be in the game. It's all you hear. And it's funny because I'm a Yankees fan. So I hear people complain about the Yankees all the time because everything is Yankees this, Yankees that, Yankees the other thing. Well, up here for football, it's Patriots this, Patriots that, Patriots this. And it has nothing, it's like you very rarely hear rumblings about the Giants or, heaven forbid, the Jets, and definitely not the Bills. But it's always the Patriots, which is why I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Well, part of the reason. The other part is that Ben Roethlisberger is a huge WWE fan, and I think Ben Roethlisberger is probably one of the better quarterbacks in the game today. With that being said, I do look, as I said, and I predict, I do look for the Carolina Panthers to win Super Bowl 50 in 2 weeks. Now, going back to WWE Royal Rumble, okay? And I kind of briefly touched on the Royal Rumble in the beginning, but I didn't fully go over it. So, the winner and your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion is the game Triple H. And people are probably saying out there, Triple H, what do you mean? The fact is, Triple H came back in number 30 and won the Royal Rumble. Last eliminating Dean Ambrose. he eliminated Roman Reigns earlier. But it just offered, the Royal Rumble itself offered a lot of feud ideas going forward. AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar, which is right now penciled in for a match at WrestleMania. So that's going to be a good thing. And then, obviously Triple H will take out Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's kind of a given at this point. And then, who else kind of came back? Nobody, really. There really weren't that many surprises in the Rumble. And I think the reason being, we knew Chris Jericho was going to be in there. Braun Strowman, though, was surprising himself. Because Braun Strowman, now this is a big dude from the Wyatt family. He's the big, tall guy. I mean, he's a monster of a man. He eliminated Kane. He eliminated The Big Show. He eliminated Mark Henry. And then Brock Lesnar eliminated him. But Brock Lesnar eliminated Eric Rowan and Luke Harper and Braun Strowman, but then got eliminated by the 4 of the Wyatt family members when Bray came in, and the other 3 were still out there. It took, see, that's part of what I don't like about the Royal Rumble. You get eliminated for a reason, right? But then for it to be okay, not that it's okay, but for it to be, I guess okay, but it's like the referees don't get involved. It's not like they go into the ring to say, hey, you got to get out. Of course not. They won't do that. So, a guy who's already been eliminated just goes right back in, eliminates, I don't think that should count. If you get eliminated by somebody who's already been eliminated, that should not matter at all. Not at all. I mean, going back over the years. 1993, was it? Yeah, 93, the debut of Giant Gonzalez. He wasn't even an entrant into the Royal Rumble. And he eliminated The Undertaker. He did eliminate The Undertaker. He went over the top rope. But it's like so many people over the years have, helped to get people out of the Rumble when they're already eliminated. Now, granted, in 92, when Ric Flair won the Rumble, yes, Hulk Hogan helped him get Psycho Sid or Sid Justice out of the ring, because Hogan was upset for being thrown out. Arguably, Ric Flair did, in fact, get him eliminated, but who knows? With that being said, I think we're going to go to our final segment of the day. Yeah, I don't like that one so much, but whatever. The case is, we're going to go to our Dumb Laws of the day, courtesy of dumblaws.com, and we're going to New Jersey. Jersey, this episode. Okay, so in Dumb Laws in New Jersey, here we go. Drivers must warn those who they pass on highways before they do. Well, that's what a blinker is, right? As far as I know. Spray paint may not be sold without a posted sign warning juveniles for the penalty for creating graffiti. All right. Handcuffs may not be sold to minors. Now, what kind of handcuffs are you talking about? All motorists must honk before passing another car, bicyclist, skater, or even a skateboarder. Okay, that makes sense. It is illegal to wear a bulletproof vest while committing a murder. Well, don't you think it would be illegal just to do the murder? Your Honor, he was not only committing the murder, but he was also wearing a bulletproof vest. Oh, well, that makes it life in prison. And so, I think the murder itself would be illegal, regardless of what they're wearing. One must yield a phone line to a person if it is an emergency. Weird, okay. You cannot pump your own gas. I can't believe that's law, but it is. It's like every place in New Jersey is full service. And me, a couple years ago, when I actually went down to New Jersey for a weekend to meet up with somebody, I got out to pump my own gas, and people looked at me sideways, like, "What the fudge are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm pumping my own gas. I don't want to pay full service prices. They're all full service. That's the crazy part. It is against the law for a man to knit during the fishing season. It is against the law to frown at a police officer. In an attempt to foster kindness in the citizens of New Jersey, the month of May is designated Kindness Awareness Month. If you have been convicted of driving while intoxicated, you may never again apply for a personalized license plate. Oh, okay. The third Thursday of October is designated as New Jersey Credit Union Day, and the citizens of the state should observe the day with appropriate activities and programs, such as, I don't know, withdrawing money? Car dealerships are forbidden from opening on a Sunday. You may not slurp your soup. Automobiles are not to pass horse-drawn carriages on the street. It is illegal to delay or detain a homing pigeon. City laws in New Jersey. It is illegal to frown as in Bernard's Township. It is illegal to frown as the town is a frown-free town zone. In Blairstown, New Jersey, shooting ranges are outlawed. No street-side trees may be planted that obscure the air. Okay. It is illegal to throw ashes on the sidewalk. I'm assuming that's for smokers. In Caldwell, you may not dance or wear shorts on the main avenue. In Cranford, citizens are not permitted to park their own boat on their lawn. In Cresskill, all cats must wear 3 bells to warn birds of their whereabouts. In Elizabeth, it is forbidden for a woman on a Sunday to walk down Broad Street without wearing a petticoat. In Haddon, it is illegal to use the Crystal Lake pool without first obtaining a bathing tag from the township clerk. Cross-dressing is illegal. No one may annoy someone of the opposite sex. In Manville, it is illegal to offer whiskey or cigarettes to animals at the local zoo. Okay. In Mount Laurel, climbing trees is prohibited in all city parks. It is illegal to get drunk and annoy others in your house. In Newark, it is illegal to sell ice cream after 6 p.m. unless the customer has a note from his doctor. Oh, wow. In Raritan, profanity is prohibited. In Sea Isle City, there will be no boiling of bones on the property. Okay. In Trenton, you may not throw a bad pickle in the street. And then pickles are not to be consumed on Sundays. They must really like their pickles in Trenton. Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's the dumb laws of the day for today for New Jersey. Who, I already called New Jersey the armpit of the armpit of the country. But, wow. All right, and this person has to stop adding me to stupid freaking Facebook groups without my consent. Grr. All right. Anyways, so that's it. This has been a good episode. I mean, granted, leave group and prevent other members from adding me back into the group. Yes. Oh, it's like you get these people that it's a struggle on Facebook. It really is. Because there's people that just add you to groups for no reason at all. And it's like, no, I don't care about Lil Wayne. Or no, I don't care about this. I don't want to be a part of it. And I've said it numerous times to this person, please don't add me to any more groups. And they still do. So I just go in and I think the next step is to just block them, period. But anyways, with that being said, let's go to God in prayer. Let's finish out the day on a strong note. Well, before I do, I just want to give you an update on some things that we're going to be talking about in the future on the Sportswire. Well, we're going to be talking about police officers and kind of like the state of police presence and how popularity among the police popularity in society today, and as well as some other hard-hitting questions to a police officer friend of mine who I've invited on the show, and I told her that, I didn't tell her exactly what I'm going to be talking about, but how friends of police officers get away with so much. Then I invited Desiree, my ex-girlfriend, on, and as you guys know, we are talking again and trying to work things out. I invited her on the show to talk about her accidents over the past few years, and kind of like from the other side of the police, the other side of the I guess the other side of the police side, it's the victim side, so to speak, and how police officers help their friends, or how laws should need to be interpreted based on certain situations. So that's coming up on the Sportswire soon. So I mean that there's a couple good key shows coming up, and I'll keep you posted when each of them air. So, with that being said, okay, I kind of got into a debate earlier this weekend, yesterday actually. As everybody knows, I am a Christian, okay, but I consider myself an evolved Christian, okay? I don't live in the first century church. I have never lived in the first century, okay? I was born in 1981, not 81. But anyways, I digress. Somebody, I was talking with somebody, and they told me, or they asked me what midweek was this coming Wednesday, and I'm like, maybe the women? I don't know. I said I wouldn't be able to go anyways, because I have another Chamber of Commerce event for, the hotel, the Connecticut Panthers, and the Sportswire. So I wear like 2 or 3 different hats, and that's, to me, that's my priority. And she said, I can never fathom putting work over God. And I had to back up, and I said, look, I'm not putting work over God. I'm just simply going to another opportunity that God is presenting me with over going to a midweek service. And I think too many people think that you're turning your back on God if you choose not to go to church. Well, there are many people out there who believe in God and who love God, but they don't go to church because of whether they're working, whether they're whatever. Okay? And maybe they just don't want organized religion because of how strict and demanding it is. And I can completely understand that. Okay, that's why I consider myself an evolved Christian, because I don't like the idea of somebody telling me, and I brought this up before, I don't like the idea of somebody telling me who I can and can't date, how to live my life. Advice is one thing, but when it gets to the point you're openly telling someone, okay, well, it's going to be you date this woman or you're not going to be in the church. If you date this woman, you're not going to be in the church. It's either the woman or the church. It's like, where is that biblical? Where has God ever said, you can, if you don't do this, you cannot be my child. You cannot be my follower. So that kind of put a sour taste in my mouth, and I never really got over that. The other thing is there was a communion message that I had given last year, and I had basically been open, and I told them that I'm a registered sex offender, and that what I did, I was open, and I got in trouble for it. Basically saying, oh, well, you were too open and people were uncomfortable. But again, that's not a problem on my part. That's a problem on their part, not on mine. So, it's like you just get to the point where, you're trying to be open, and then people complain, well, that's not your fault. It's not. All right. With that being said, I'm going to end this show. Let's go to God in prayer. Let's finish off with a great thing. Father God, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to talk to people and get the messages out there. I thank you for Kristen Howe being so open in her autobiographical videos, Lord, and being able to allow me to broadcast them to the world. I want to thank you for just allowing me to be talking to Desiree again, and I pray that whatever you have planned for us, Lord, that you show us the way, that you show us, if you want us to be together. I thank you for just the opportunity, and I thank you for the talents you've given me, Father. And I ask all this through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, so folks, thank you for listening. Thank you so much. We'll be back here Thursday morning, which is the 28th, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Sportswire. And I have to find... there we go.